Good morning again, everyone. My name is Giang Say. I'm a head of L&D in the capacity specialist. Welcome to this webinar. As I mentioned, today is a little bit different from the previous webinar that we have done. So it means that today it's like the Q&A forum, which I will be MC, and we have our guest speaker here, Mr. Gabriel, who is our CEO. I will have some questions for him to answer related to the topic today, and we will focus on why innovative solution. And you will get 3 learning innovation that you can apply straight away into your organization to improve your impact. Everyone also have the chance to asking any question you would like to know about the topic and about the capacity specialist. You can either go to our Facebook page to leave comment there and also leave the question in our chat box here, or probably you can also unmute yourself to ask any question. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Good morning, Gabriel. So probably some of us already know you and some may not. So would you like to introduce more about yourself and why did you come to Cambodia to start the capacity specialist?
Yes, thank you, Rengse, and good morning to all our participants who have taken the time to join us. Thank you for joining. Just a reminder, this is a Q&A session, so feel free to ask me any questions you would like. So why did I come to Cambodia and start the capacity specialist? Well, it was not my intention to start the capacity specialist when I first came to Cambodia. I actually came to Cambodia the first time in about 2004 and just came here for a holiday and went to Siem Reap. And we were here for only a short time, but the memory we had from the people who we interacted with left a very positive impression in our minds. Then in 2008, we were on our way home. So I'm originally from Australia, and my wife and I were sitting in Sihanoukville, and we thought, should we stay in Cambodia and try and do some work here, try and start something here? So we both said yes. And so my first few years in Cambodia, I was working as a risk consultant in the microfinance sector. However, I saw there was a wider need for people development than only in just risk. Also, I had a passion for learning from my parents. Both of my parents were teachers, and my mother was a lifelong learner, that she was actually studying right up to the time until she passed away a few years ago. So I've always had a strong belief in education and learning, and a strong belief that having a proper education, having the opportunity to learn is the main driver of success for people.
Okay, so really amazing that you can start the business in here with your just only 2 of you. Okay, so since you start the capacity specialist in 2010, what are the change that have you seen in L&D?
So there have been a lot of changes in a positive direction, which is good. One of the most interesting things I found was when we started in 2010, there was not a belief that soft skills were valuable. So the belief in many organisations was people only need to know how to do the functional aspect of their job, so only having the hard skills. However, through this time now, it has changed significantly, such that probably more than 95% of the market who we talk to understand the importance of soft skills. Another change has been the focus on impact and from the fact that competition has increased significantly in the market. And so therefore organisations have to be more careful with what they spend. So there has been a drive from the top of organisations to make sure that when they invest in people development, that they will get a result, that they will get positive impact. And finally, just a more recent change, of course, is due to the pandemic, the new normal in which organisations operate. So there's much more openness to online and virtual learning. So for the first nine years of our time in Cambodia, we were never asked for virtual or online learning. But over the last year, as you would know, we have had several clients who now ask us, can you run some sessions online?
Sure, and we also got a feedback that okay. So we also got some feedback from people that sometimes they even doesn't know about Zoom. What is Zoom? It seems like the name of the person. So it's really a big change for this last 2 years. Okay, so and what is the big gap, biggest gap in L&D in Cambodia that you see?
Yeah, so that's a good question and quite important for people working in L&D to understand. So while there has been a shift to more focus on impact, I think it is still quite far from where it needs to be. So I think there is still too much focus on form over substance. What does that mean? It means more focused on maybe an organisation has a budget for L&D, and because the organisation is used to sending people to a certain number of days training per year, that the focus is making sure they meet that target. Whereas really the focus should be on what is the impact we get when we invest in our people. So I think a gap is still, there's not enough focus on impact. I think also there needs to be better understanding of what other learning methodologies can be used to support people to grow. At the moment, there is a lot of focus still such that the majority of the budget of an organisation is still spent on classroom learning. Yeah, whereas when you understand how people learn, when you understand the 70-20-10 model, 10% is learning through training, through classroom training. So spending the majority of your budget on only 10% of how people learn will never be effective. And then also organisations' understanding of new developments in learning. So just as technology is causing organisations to change fast in many areas of their business, technology is also causing learning to change. So it's important that all organisations keep up to date with what is happening in the learning space outside of Cambodia. How are organisations addressing the challenges of how people work now and how they need to learn now.
Okay, since our topic today related to why innovative solution, what would you define as an innovative solution?
So I'd like to maybe start off by just giving some background about why we chose innovative solutions as a tagline. So if you know our logo, you'll see that underneath the name it says innovative learning solutions. So I have a passion for trying new things. I'm not a follower. Therefore, whenever I had the intention to start a business, I always had the intention to do something new. So for a learning business like TCS, I had the intention to bring new solutions to Cambodia, ones that had not been tried here before. And we have innovation in our blood. So right from the first service we launched in Cambodia, it was already quite innovative. What it was you could do a series of short courses, and if you succeeded, you would gain a qualification from Australia. Now, unfortunately, that was not so successful, but that is fairly normal with innovation. Not all innovations will be successful. Learning in small pieces, yes, so we introduced programs that had half-day sessions over a number of weeks. We also have an innovation program that teaches innovation skills, and we brought that in a few years ago, so we were the first. Also, we introduced the regular webinar into Cambodia. We were doing regular webinars more than 1 year before the pandemic started. We also were the first to focus on workplace learning, so not on classroom learning, not on coaching. And we also offer to guarantee our services. And more recently, we've moved into the employee wellness space. So as you can see from our behaviour, we like to be the first. We like to do new things. And we will continue to innovate in the learning space and have many new initiatives in the pipeline, particularly that are related to learning online, learning on your mobile, because that is the new normal. Yeah. So to now answer your question about what do we call an innovative solution. So if you understand innovation, innovation comes on a spectrum. So on one end is the world-changing innovations, and they're the ones that a lot of people would usually relate to when they are thinking about innovation. But on the other end of the spectrum, and innovation can just be something that you change in a process that you do, yeah, that makes the process more valuable. So for us, when we think about innovative solutions, we are focusing on what has not been tried or what is not usually done in an organisation in Cambodia. So it does not have to be world-changing, it just has to be something new for the market.
Okay, yeah, as I say that some of the training service provider in Cambodia here, it's not having any new or like the innovative solution like that. So, so for example, mega asset management. So, so mega asset organization, the company. Do you think that why it is important for one organization or one company like Mega Asset to focus on the innovative solution?
Okay, thank you. So I would start off by going back to what is the purpose of investing in your people. The purpose now should be getting impact, yeah, getting positive impact. So if that is the focus for organisations, then they need to, in their journey, continue to look for more impact, not less, yeah, more. So if a learning activity that an organisation or a company is doing is not giving the level of impact they want, then they must try something different. If they continue to do the same thing, it will not change the result. They need to try something new. And also organisations nowadays, the market is very competitive. Competition causes margins to shrink. So organisations don't have resources to waste. So every resource they put into learning must be achieving impact. So in our view, organisations need to continue to search for new things until they are happy with the level of impact.
So hi Gabriel and hi everyone. I think maybe internet from Rangsay is cut off. So maybe I can move on to what we are discussing.
Sure.
So what do you think that how can the R&D as our participants are mostly from the R&D function to better support our organization to be more successful?
Okay, so yeah, that's very important now because I think L&D function needs to become more valuable to the business or to the organisation. So how can L&D functions do that? Firstly, they need to upskill themselves and make sure they understand as much as they can about learning and also what are the current trends in learning. So that really means they need to do their own self-study, self-reading, maybe subscribe to some websites, newsletters that really share what is going on. They also need to be a partner to the business. Yeah, they need to help the business understand their real needs. Yeah, not just the first need they think of may not be what their real need is. And then they need to help them to meet those needs with impactful solutions. So they need to be able to think outside of the box for how can we support the people to improve their performance. They need to also engage with the business on the results they want. So using the Kirkpatrick model, that's what we use, have conversations with the business to get them to understand what are the different levels of results they can get when they invest in learning, and help them to understand that if they want behaviour change and improve results in the business, that they cannot just do a short one-day session or now with online learning, a half-day session. Yeah? Because where L&D functions continue to have a minimal impact, then they will not be considered valuable by an organisation. So I really think it's the time now for L&D functions to step up and show them how, hey, our function can really help our organisation achieve better results.
Okay, so sorry at the moment that my connection is out. At the moment, we already know why innovative solution is important to the organization. And related to the 3 key takeaway, what are the 3 innovative that you would like to share to everyone here?
So thank you. So let me share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, we see it.
Okay. So yes, so as we saw in the title to the webinar, I wanted to share 3 possible innovations that you could put into practice in your organization. So firstly, the first one is related to internal training. So a big purpose of internal training is to communicate knowledge and experience from people who are more experienced in a job to new people in the company. And it's usually a lot of work for the subject matter expert. Yeah, it's one person who maybe has to transfer their knowledge to 30 people, 60 people, 90 people. Yeah, and so it takes a lot of their time. So one thing that many organizations are doing now is trying to think, well, how can we make this process more efficient? And also, how can we make it more relevant to how people in the workplace want to learn? Because in the old way, where a subject matter expert shared their knowledge in a face-to-face session with a group of participants, maybe that was not the best time for the participants to get the learning. Maybe a better time is when they're actually doing their job and they think, oh, I have to do this task, but how do I do it? Oh, yeah. So what a lot of organizations are doing now is they are using a job aid. So they are making a job aid via video and hosting it on a platform. So the subject matter expert, they can be upskilled in how to create an effective learning video, and then they can make the video once. And then it can be viewed by people in the organization whenever they need to. It can be used as a refresher, it can be used as part of onboarding, but it just makes that use of time much more efficient for the subject matter expert. And also it's much more useful for the learner because they can then learn that or review that when they need to. So that's one thing. Second thing is about identifying learning needs. Yeah. So usually, or in a more traditional way, learning needs was about what knowledge do my people need to learn. But knowledge now is not as valuable because knowledge is free. Yeah. So what is more important is what people need to do in their job. So when you are identifying your learning needs, instead of thinking, what do my people need to know, you should be asking, what do my people need to do? And come up with a list of what are the key activities that my people need to be doing every day consistently in order to achieve the goal of their job. Yep. So shifting the focus from the know to the do. Yeah. Yeah. And then the third suggestion, or the third thing that a lot of organizations are not doing yet, is focusing on workplace learning. So as I shared earlier, a big focus for organizations is on classroom learning and now shifting to online learning and maybe some coaching, but that's only 30%. 70% of how people learn should take up a lot more of organizations' resources. And workplace learning needs to be structured and supported. So what does that mean? It means using job aids. Yes, so job aids nowadays, it's easier because people like to watch a video. So you can make a video job aid that people can view on their mobile phone. Yeah, and it basically just reminds them and supports them of the most important parts of their job, and also showing them how to do that. Secondly, that needs to be coupled with regular feedback from their line managers. So they would watch the job aids, they would try to do what is in the job aid, and then their line manager would observe them and give them feedback. Are they doing it well? Great, give them positive reinforcement. Do they need to change? Okay, highlight where they need to change, and then guide them to use the process or do the task in the right way. And thirdly, having some structured time to learn. So in many organisations, teams have a regular meeting each week. Yeah, some have them each morning. But build into those meetings some time for people to reflect and learn. So how are you going with your core activities? What are you finding a challenge? And sharing best practices amongst the team and creating that environment of workplace learning and social learning. Yeah. So if you can use that approach, you'll find that people will change much faster and you will be more successful to grow people. Yeah. So I hope those three suggestions are useful.
Okay, that's great to see the key thing that people could take away, and I believe that probably some of our participants here have some question for you. So let me stop in here a little bit. So giving everyone for around 2 minutes to ask any question. So if you have any question, just using chat box or you can unmute yourself. Okay, 2 minutes go. Welcome to all questions from all of you.
Yes, please.
Good morning, Mo.
Yes, good morning.
Yes. Yes, good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning.
Yeah. I am Seha from Gabriel Cambodia, and so thank you for the capacity facility for making the webinar happen today. Yes. And yeah, for me, the innovation, it's a bit new word for me, and I think also some so could you simplify or could you explain in simple words what is innovation and how can we motivate people to use innovation solution in company or something like that? Because sometimes when they heard the word innovation solution, it seems a bit complicated. It seems like what is the new what we never know before like that. Yeah, I think you could bring.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Seha. So, yeah, so let me start firstly, what is innovation? I guess in the simplest terms, innovation is something new that you create that adds value. So the definition is very general because of what I shared about innovation having a spectrum. So innovation is not only something that will change the world, yeah, but it can be if you have a normal process in the business or in the organization that you have been using for years, and somebody comes up with a new idea to change one part of it, and it results in the process being more valuable, maybe it's faster, maybe there are less mistakes, then you would call that an innovation. Yeah, so that's what innovation is. Now, in order to open people's minds to trying something new, trying something innovative, I think it needs to be linked to the purpose. So think about when people do their job, what do they want? At the end of the day, based on what motivates humans, they want to get better at their job. So the majority of people, when they wake up in the morning, they do not say, I want to go to work and do a bad job. No, they are thinking, I want to go to work and do a good job. So if you can link the using an innovation to improve how they will do their job, to help support them get better results from their work, then people naturally will be open to listening. If it's something that they do not believe will help them, then you want to find out why. Maybe they don't understand the innovation. Maybe they don't see how it can help. There's also the human side, yeah, where people don't like change, yeah. So you also need to use some of the theories from change management, getting them to see a better future if they change, and then helping them become comfortable with the change, and then being there to support them through the change.
Okay. I think you Gabriel. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, anyone have other question? Okay, so if you have, just using chat box or unmute yourself, and yeah. Okay, if there is no any question, actually we still wait for the question if you have, so just let us know. While we are waiting for the question, I still have few more questions for you. What do you see is happening in the next 5 years for people development in Cambodia?
Okay, that's very interesting. So I have to say that I do not have a crystal ball and I cannot tell the future. So these are just my views based on what I'm seeing in the market and where I'm seeing learning moving. So I think no doubt there will be a continued focus on return on investment and impact and results. I do not think that will go away. I think already people working in HR and L&D already are hearing that from their senior management teams, from their CEOs. You know, show us return on investment, show us what the results will be when we invest in our people. So that will continue very strongly. Secondly, as I touched on before, I think learning and development will become more important in organisational strategy. So because the workforce now is getting to be a larger proportion of younger people, and one of the things that motivates young people now in the workforce is the opportunity to learn and grow. So organisations which have a more effective L&D strategy, organisations which have maybe some more interesting ways to grow and engage their people will be more successful in recruiting people. Also, there will be more focus on blended learning. So the world has changed. We are now more comfortable with learning online, at least for part of the time. So there will be more focus on combining virtual online learning with face-to-face learning. And my personal view is, I think over time, less and less focus will be put on classroom learning. When organisations understand how effective classroom learning is, for example, it's only 10%, and then looking at the cost, My personal view is face-to-face classroom learning does not have a long life. Yeah, it's not going to suit how people work. And also because people are getting busier in the workplace. They have less time. They don't like to be out of the workplace for 1 day or 2 days. Learning will happen in smaller pieces. The trend is called micro-learning. Yeah, and so that's, for example, what I shared of what you can do with internal training. You get your subject matter experts to make micro-learning sessions, which are very short, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because as people are busier and have less time, they will want to learn very quickly and they will want to learn on the go and when they need to. So those are some of the trends that I think will continue.
Okay. And will TCS continue to come up with the innovative solution to support for the opportunity which we will see the next 3-5 years?
Yes, for sure. As I said, it is in our blood, it is in our DNA. So, and also personally, it keeps me engaged to keep on trying to grow the capacity specialists. I love looking at what is out there, what are some new things, and seeing how we can bring them to the market in Cambodia if they are useful. So for sure we will. In the short term, because the world has gone more virtual and online, we are focusing on increasing our offerings in that area. And it's not just the usual. So some of these services have not been seen in Cambodia much yet. So that's very exciting. So watch this space as we will be launching some of them soon. We're also very results focused. So we will continue to focus on impact. We don't like working with clients unless we can get them tangible results. So we will continue to make sure that all the new learning solutions we bring in will continue to provide the positive impact needed by organizations.
Great. Okay, we got one question from Narod Kao. Could you explain more about job ad and give example?
So a job aid is, as the words say, just something that will remind people how they can do that task effectively. A very simple example would be for a salesperson. But I think Narad is from an NGO, so let me use another example instead of sales, yeah? So say, for example, if it's something to do with communication skills. And I mention communication skills because it's a fundamental skill needed by all staff in every organisation, and really communication is not always done well. So a job aid for communication skills might be what is something, or what are the key steps you should do when you are communicating with somebody. Yep. So for example, make sure you are clear on the purpose of the communication before you start. Make sure you ask the right question or you listen actively. Maintain eye contact. Reframe or rephrase the question to make sure you understand it. So it's just very simple steps that may seem very obvious, but when we are in the moment, we are not always thinking about what we should be thinking about. So it serves as a reminder. And so you can use a job aid for any process, like I said, for sales, for customer service, even for being a leader or for coaching. You can use it for anything. You just need to be able to break it down into what are the key simple steps and just put it on a laminated card that all your staff can have. Yeah, but it needs to be focused on what is important for their job. Yep. So has that answered your question?
Narod, just typing yes if we answer to your question.
Yes, thank you. It's quite the same, the plan, activity plan.
It has some similarities. It's just it's much more simple. Is more related to a simple task rather than a complex plan. So I guess it's just much more simple.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone have question? Okay, so this is the last question from me, and let's see if we have anyone else who has more questions. Gab, do you have any key takeaway for participant today?
So let me share my screen again, because we certainly have covered a lot, and so it's important that I make it simple. What are some simple things to remember from the session? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So so the key takeaways. So I will share 3 things, and I choose 3 because people remember 3 things very easily. So going back to the job aid question, if you can try to make the job aid just have 3 key things, then it will be easier for people to remember. So the 3 key things. Firstly, I've spoken a lot about impact. Yeah. So whether you're working in L&D or whether you are a leader who approves the budget for L&D, you need to activity. It has some impact. If not, then you need to rethink. Yeah. Second, if you are doing things and you're not happy with impact or with the impact it is getting you, try something new. Yeah. Don't keep on doing the same thing, different result. There's a saying that the definition of madness is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Yeah. So if it's not working, try something new. And finally, make sure that you keep up with the new trends in L&D. Yeah. Spend time to learn, spend time to find out what are the well-known journals in learning, and subscribe to them. Yeah, and then read what they send you, because it will help to open your mind and give you new ideas. Because like everything in this world, L&D and how people learn is also changing. So those are the 3 suggestions that I think participants should leave this session with.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel, for sharing. So let me know from participant how do you think about this webinar today, and do you have any more questions related to innovative solution?
Or if you have another question, please ask.
Yes. Okay, let me read through the chat from Supirot. Let's discuss productivity. Yeah, as most staff are being asked to work from home with less supervision, I believe management concerned about reliability, responsibility, accountability in getting a task done timely. Okay. This challenge going to be on Cambodian market. This is going to be an interesting challenge. It has something to do with Cambodian education system contribute to this behavior. Okay, how do you think about this message?
Yeah, I think Sotarat is right. That is a common concern, and I guess it's been a concern even before the pandemic. And I think many organisations all around the world who were wanting to institute a remote working model, one of the concerns of managers was, but how do I make sure that my people will still do what they have to do, because I won't be seeing them in the office. So I think it's been a long-standing challenge that many organisations face, and maybe now it's just more of a challenge, or there are more people who are working remotely. I guess our philosophy on this and our approach on this is about engagement. So we think a lot of companies, a lot of organisations still need to do work on engaging their employees, because I think if your employees are engaged, then this is less of an issue, because engagement drives motivation. And if your people are highly engaged, then it doesn't matter where they are. They believe in the purpose of the organisation. They believe in your why. They will be motivated to do the work. So in my view, the solution is focusing on engagement. Now, it's not a short-term solution to improve engagement. Is similar to improving a culture, changing a culture. You also need to make sure that you have a strong purpose, because the younger generation now are driven by purpose. They will not be keen to work for a company whose main goal is just to make as much money as we can. Yeah, that no longer motivates people. People want to know that the organisation is doing some good in their, or some good in society, because it helps them feel proud to work for that organisation. So I think the solution is around getting better engagement.
Okay, one more question from Gamlin. Could you explain me the succession planning program in our L&D department related to innovative solution?
Well, I guess if you've never had a succession planning program before and now you do, then I would say yes, you could call it an innovative solution for your organisation or for your company. If you already have a succession planning program and then you are trying something new, you are changing something to get better results, then yes, I think you could call it an innovative solution. As I said, an innovative solution is just something you change, something you do new that you have not done before, which will give you better results, which will add value.
Okay. Anyone have question?
Thank you for the question so far.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Okay, let me give you all 2 minutes if you have any more questions. So while waiting for the question, just letting you all know that for this webinar, we also have a live streaming on our Facebook page. So after end of this webinar, you can get our video from our page. Feel free to click like, and then you will get more information about our upcoming event. Okay, Sim, no one else have more questions. Thank you, Gabriel, for your time talking about innovative solution today. And I hope everyone gain more idea and knowledge about it. Do you want to say something to end this webinar?
Sure. Thank you, Rangse. So I'd just like to thank everybody for joining the session. This is the first time I've been a speaker. So we have run webinars since I think 2019, but this is the first time I have been a speaker, but I have really enjoyed it, and I hope you have found it useful. I hope it has given you a bit more of an idea of what we do, how we work, but also has maybe changed the way you think about L&D, and hopefully will help you to get better impact for your organisations. So thank you, and take care, stay safe through this time.
Okay, yeah, and to me, as Gab mentioned, it is the first time for us to have MC and guest speaker. So let me apologize for any inconvenience to you, and especially for the internet interruption. So just would like you to know that the capacity specialist also offer the next webinar related to how to improve your PowerPoint. We probably plan in June or July, and we also have our public workshop related to modern practical Excel in Khmer as well. Just go to our Facebook page and then you can see more detail. Okay, and we also have a feedback for you to complete. So my team will pass the link in here. We would like to get your idea on how we could improve for the next time. So please kindly spend around 1 or 2 minutes to complete the feedback form in here. We would like to say thank you for everyone for your cooperation, for your interactive asking question, and hopefully that we answer well to your question.